Hey there, welcome back to Turntable Guy. On the coffee table today, not on the bench, we have two very similar yet very different turntables that I get a lot of questions about. They're similar because they were released at the exact same time and they were on the market for the exact same time. They actually competed against each other a little bit because of their differences. So let me introduce to you the Technics SL-D2. The D2 is a semi-automatic direct drive, and the direct drive is controlled by servo. And on its right is the Technics SL-Q2. The Q2 is also a semi-automatic turntable, but this one has the more advanced quartz lock system on it. As far as the pricing on these turntables, I think the Q2 sold for about $50 to $75 more back in the day. They were both released in 1979, sold through late 1980. So they were on the market for a couple years, but considering the sheer amount of these that Technics sold, you would think that it was on the market for a lot longer. You can check out all that information on vintagetechniques.com. All right, so let's go over some of the similarities and differences between these turntables, and then I will give you my recommendation as to which one I would recommend if you're on a budget, or which one I would recommend if you have more money to spend. So over here on the D2, the D2 is more of a mechanical turntable. I mean, they're both mechanical, but the Q2 has a few more electronic controls. If we start off on the right side here, the D2 has a mechanical stop reject button. It has pitch control, and it also has a mechanical speed switch. Okay. The platter is slightly different. It has markings for both 33 and 45 at 50 and 60 hertz. Going over to the Q2, the stop button is on the left side of the turntable. This stop button is electronic though, so when you press this button, it triggers a solenoid, which then trips the auto return mechanism. Speed control is also electronically controlled. The SL-Q2 has an on-off button, okay, which the D2 does not. And when you turn on the turntable, the strobe light illuminates. The platter is a little bit different on this one. It's only got one set of markings on it, and it does both 33 and 45. Whereas the D2 has 4 sets of markings. Neither of these turntables has the original mat. Both of these turntables are subject to what's called Technics platter mat rot. Also occurs in quite a few dual turntables. And what happens is the natural oils within the rubber of the mat start to leak out, and eventually the mat becomes hard like a rock and is garbage. And what you're left with is a big pile of goo underneath the mat on top of the platter itself. I've done a video on servicing of an SL-D2, and you can see that platter mat rot there. I can link that down in the description for you. All right, so I am just going to pull off the dust covers here. I have them kind of loosened already, so we can get a look at the arms. The dust covers are identical, other than the fact that the SL-D2, it just says Techniques, and the SL-Q2 says Technics Quartz, kind of like an SL-1200. All right, so Arm differences. Now this is where there's a little bit of a substantial difference. The arm tubing is identical, and so is the collar, but that's where it stops. And if you can notice back here, the SL-D2 has a similar arm to the SL-1000 series, such as the 1300, 1400, and 1500 Mark 1s. It's kind of a round cylinder back here. Also similar to the SL-23. When we go over to the Q2, the arm's a little bit more advanced. The bearings are more exposed, although it's very similar through here. But the arm is a little bit higher quality, and this is the arm that Technics used more on the 1000 series, 1600, 1700, and 1800, which replaced the 13, 14, and 15. Okay, also pretty similar to the SL-1200 Mark II. The weights are identical, as are the anti-skate and arm lifter. And the base of the arm is also the exact same mold on both tables. Now, one of the bigger areas will be the actual plinth. Okay, so this is where the SL-Q series definitely has an advantage. That's aluminum. That's plastic. Okay, the SL-D series has Technics TNRS system, which I believe stood for Techniques Noise Resonance. Was it noise canceling resonance? I forget what it is. It's TNRS. It's plastic. Okay, it's obviously a special non-resonant plastic compound. And it is very non-resonant, but it is plastic. When you get over to the SL-Q, this is entirely made out of aluminum. Okay, the whole plinth. So you're getting a higher quality turntable when it comes to the plinth. Now, although this one is made out of plastic, what a lot of owners of this do is they take off the bottom and they stuff all the empty spaces of the turntable with plasticine or silly putty or something like that. And what it does is it adds a ton of weight to the turntable, and also all the cavities that are empty stock-wise are then filled up, so they believe it becomes less resonant. Okay, so that's one of the ways to upgrade the plastic plinth on an SL-D2. The Q series is heavier. Okay, it definitely has more weight to it. All right, now I'm just going to show it running here. Both arms trip the platter. Hopefully it stays on. Yeah. And as you can see, the Q series, the strobe is oh, she stopped. There we go. The strobe does not move. Once it locks on, that's where it stays. And come on, baby, just stay on. When you flip to 45, it's almost instantaneous. You bugger. Sorry, I don't have a head shell on here, so... Oh, now the auto return's kicking on. You can't win some days. Let's get rid of the anti-skate. Let's see if I can get it to stay out. There we go. Okay. Now it's going to go the other way. You're a bugger. Just a little bit there. I just want to show you the switch over to 45. Here we go. So watch when I switch to 45. It's almost instantaneous. That's 45. Boom. 33. Instantaneous. 45. Back to 33. So very high quality motor. Very similar to the SL-1200. Lots of torque. Okay, so when we come over to the D series, hopefully we can get this one to state. It gets up to speed right away. So you can see 33 is really stable. And I'm just going to switch it over to 45. And you're going to notice that it's not an instantaneous change like the SL-Q. It's going to speed up. Okay. And then, I still have to do some adjustment on this turntable. My 45 is not locked on the main board, so I need to adjust it there, so you'd have to do a manual adjustment right there. Okay, and if you want to go back to 33, the whole platter has to slow right back down again, which is not a huge issue. Okay, and you lock it on again. And there's your 33. So it's not instantaneous like this one where you're going from 33 to 45 and then the quartz lock kicks on. Okay, so that's the difference between the speed on these two. Having said that, how often are you switching between 33 and 45, right? So probably not a lot. The SL-Q has a speed brake as well. The SL-D keeps spinning until it eventually just slows down and stops on its own. Okay. So that's the difference between the two models. On the back, they're identical. They have the same cabling, same ground, so there's no difference there. The major issue with these turntables are weak hinges and dust covers that their tabs break on. Okay. Here's my SL-Q dust cover, and if you can see here, this tab is broken. That's a normal tab there, and this one's cracked off. And the reason it's cracked off is that those tabs sit in those hinges, and those hinges are under constant spring pressure. So eventually, you guessed it, it breaks off. Okay. Now there are some guys on the internet who have created 3D printable tabs for these. And what you do is you completely remove this tab, put the new one on and drill 2 holes, and it's a lot more secure and solid, and it gets rid of this problem. All right. So those are the differences and similarities between the two tables. So now it comes down to, what do I recommend? SL-D or SL-Q? Well, if you're on a budget, okay, you can definitely get an SL-D for a lot cheaper. And what are you giving up to the SL-Q series? I would say not a lot. Okay, the arms are similar, the tables are very similar platter-wise. Yeah, it's a little bit higher quality when you get into the Q series. Again, the aluminum plinth. But like I said, you can modify this one and make it a little bit more solid. Not that there's anything really wrong with it stock. You know, the electronic controls, yeah, they're nice, but these work just fine. Okay, quartz lock is about 0.05% better on wow and flutter. If you're really susceptible to wow and flutter, I know some people really have a tendency to hear differences in pitch, then yeah, get the Q series, okay? Because its speed's going to be right on. And some people state, yeah, I can hear, you know, Technics quartz lock. I hear it hunting. You know what? Please, there's no hunting, okay? Quartz lock is dead on, balls accurate. It's about as good as you're going to get. And it destroys belt drive turntables for speed accuracy. This one is 0.05, not as good. Again, you're not going to hear it. Clean these pitch controls. Clean this speed selector switch. This table will be as stable as the quartz. Okay. Arm differences, I don't hear the difference. Okay. They sound identical to me. Yes, this arm is a little bit better quality, okay? And the turntable is a little bit better quality. But these are commanding ridiculous prices on the used market. I've seen them for $300 to $500 on eBay, and you know that's a lot of money for a turntable that sold for $200 back in the day. So, you know, you can get into an SL-D for probably $150 to $200. Hell of a turntable for that money. Okay. Now this SL-D cost me $60, and this SL-Q cost me $80. So I'm really pleased with my purchase because they're great turntables. They look nice. If I had to choose looks wise, I would also choose the D series. I like the 100% silver look, whereas the Q has this kind of black strip in here that, you know, I don't like it as much. I also think the D platter is better looking with its extra markings. I just kind of like the way it looks. It looks taller and more prominent. The Q series is a little bit cleaner looking, but I kind of like the look of the D better. So for me, I'm more of a fan of the D series because I think you get more for your money. Okay, if you like, you know, quartz lock and it's very important to you, then if you can get one of these at a reasonable price, like if you can get, you know, what I paid for it, jump on it, because this table will destroy just about anything that's manufactured today. Speed, accuracy, quality, sound, you know, arm, fantastic. You know, it will blow anything away. I'll put anything against it. Give me any Riga project, anything. Okay, and I own a Riga. Okay, it's right over there, and this SL-Q destroys it. And my Riga is upgraded. I've got a better subplatter, upgraded cartridge, upgraded belt. I've done the whole nines on it. Okay, it's noisy. The motor is noisy, and it puts a lot of noise through the plinth. That's what I find with the new Rigas where the motors are stuck to the plinth. Okay, these motors are 100% silent. You do not hear them. If the bearings are lubricated, even better. Keep on top of it. Give them a drop or two of Singer oil every 6 months to a year, depending on how much you use them. They are silent. All right, so there you go, folks. There's two very similar yet two very different turntables. Beautiful turntables. The SL-Q2 and the SL-D2 by Technics. I want to thank you for tuning in again. I hope to see you in my next video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.